Hey guys, what's up? Arshani here, back with another video. Today we're doing something different that I haven't done in a long time, but I wanted to kind of have a conversation and just chat. So today is a self-care day. We are doing something fun. I have been working on this canvas for a couple weeks now, and the amazing statement that I picked for this canvas says, "It's already yours," and it's pink and black, and it's going to go into my new section where I'll be filming my little sit down videos just for the time being. So whenever you see my street evangelism reaction videos or my marketing videos, or just think that I just want to talk to you guys about on Creator Diaries or other things, you'll see this beautiful thing on my background in my room, and it's going to be fun. So my birthday was last month, and we literally just got to the end of 1 month of me being 26. In celebration of that, I want to do a video telling you guys 25 things that I have learned in 25 years. So I'm going to be painting while I'm going to be telling you guys some things that I love, and hopefully we can get this painting done by the end of this video. So my mom gave me this artist loft painting set when I was young. And so every time I want to do little crafts or little paintings for clients, or, just some small things, I use this painting set every single time. So, number one, I have learned how to be more confident within myself. I know it sounds a little bit cliche, but here's why it's a little bit different for me, I guess. If you guys have known from content that I've created in the past, you guys know that growing up, I've struggled with bullying. I've struggled with my just self-love. Just recently, because of losing certain friends and people in my life, I have been just kind of dealing with the effects of it, kind of blaming myself in some areas, thinking that it was because of me, or because there were some things that I was inadequate with or that I wasn't doing that was causing me to kind of not keep these friends that I had, until I had to realize that it wasn't necessarily because of me, but because it was just the season and time for it to end. And I had to learn that I can't live my life based off of the fact that other people may not necessarily be there or want to be there. I have to love myself regardless of who's around and regardless of if people are going to accept me or not. Just knowing that there are people out there who may not necessarily like me is something that I kind of struggle with sometimes, but it's inevitable. Number two is that God does not wait for us to fail. I know sometimes we can be like, well, of course, like God is a merciful and loving God, but I had went through my entire life thinking that God is waiting for us to make a mistake, and that if we make a mistake, we need to repent immediately, just right away. And if we don't, it's going to be a big problem for not just us, but even other people who are involved. And I had to realize quickly that that was not the case. God is not sitting twiddling his thumbs waiting for us to make a mistake. He loves us unconditionally, even in the moments where we do make a mistake. We still need to own up to our mistakes. We still need to repent and ask God for forgiveness. But it's not like he's just expecting for us to do something wrong. But it's just something that I want you to remember as well. As you are going through life, remember that we are imperfect people, and he knows that we are. He's not surprised that we're going to do something wrong. It's just like our parents. Sometimes they know that we're going to do something wrong and that we're going to make a mistake. But if you have loving parents, I know some people may not necessarily be blessed with that, but if you have loving parents, then they know that you're going to make a mistake, and they should not punish you every single time like you're the next spawn of Satan or something. So if you know that you're willfully doing something that is against what God wants for you to be doing, I recommend that before you even start helping and working on others, that you do start to work on yourself, but start to work on yourself. We're not perfect people, so I'm not saying that you will be completely fixed, or I'm not even telling you to be completely fixed before you start working somebody, because that's unrealistic. Start working on the things that you know you need to work on before you try to help somebody else. Because how can you help somebody when you're struggling, especially with the same thing? Number 3, it's important to have a dream, but be smart about your goals. Now, of course, that can sound pretty self-explanatory as well. Be smart about the things that you're doing and your goals. Here's why that's something that I had to think about as well. Growing up for a while, I had that like carpe diem mentality, that seize the day type of lifestyle where if it's something that I want to do, then I'm going to work hard to try to get that done, right? Without kind of a plan or a goal in mind of how I wanted to actually succeed in that. But here's how that was damaging me. I had to realize that if I don't have a direction in mind of what my dreams are, I could just fall to the wayside and end up not being successful in what I want to do. So I recommend that it's important for you to have dreams and have goals. If you want to be famous, or if you want to, I don't know, whatever you guys' dreams are, that's great. Have those dreams, but also recognize that there are some things that you need to take care of in life. We're struggling just like everybody else, and your dreams shouldn't suffer because of how much money you don't have. Don't forget that you have a responsibility. You just got to make sure that you have things handled. Like, God is on your side always. Trust in Him and trust that He's going to direct you into the right steps. Wisdom is super important in this life. And just because we have desires and dreams doesn't mean that we just can't, that everything else just has to fall to the wayside. Number 4, and this was something that I had to learn, especially a little bit more recently, 25th year than in other years. Number 4 is being in a relationship does not mean you have to stop doing what you love. I have seen too many women who have been out here who just completely forget about themselves just for the sake of their relationship or even their families, and completely lose themselves in their relationships because they think they can't do both. They can't have a healthy and successful relationship while working on the things that they love to do. Look at me. I'm sitting here creating content while being in a happy, healthy relationship, and I'm doing just fine. But I had to learn that I can't just completely forget about my hobbies and my passions that I enjoyed before him just because I'm in a relationship, because he's not forgetting about his passions and his hobbies. So definitely remember that about yourself. Whether you are a female or whether you are a male, your relationship is extremely important, yes, but so is your happiness, your mental health, your space. You deserve safe spaces. You deserve time for you to do whatever it is that you want to do. You deserve to have a day where you're just focused on yourself. You deserve so many things. In previous relationships, I used to just completely forget about myself just to make them happy. Like, I could tell you so many stories about past boyfriends where I just acted like them so that I could stay with them because it just made sense. If they liked this specific thing, well, I can like this specific thing too. I can learn about it and find out more about it. And because I am very open-minded, it was easy for me to get into so many things that I may not necessarily have been happy with doing. Now, I don't have to pretend. If I don't like something, I'm going to tell you straight up, period. And Isaiah knows that about me. If I don't like something, I don't like it. That's it. And I will try it once, but if I don't like it after that, I'm not going to try to do it again. And you can't force me. But at the same time, I also know that there are things that I will try to do just because I want to see the other person happy. I know this kind of goes away from what we were just talking about with do what you love. But I love making sure that Isaiah is happy as well. So there are some hobbies that I have kind of developed while being in this relationship that I genuinely love. And honestly, now I can do them by myself if I wanted to. And I think it's important to date yourself even while you're in a relationship, because your relationship with yourself matters so much. Like, just think about it. You have to know how to love yourself and how to enjoy your life. God gives you a purpose. He gives you so many things for you to enjoy this earth. But if you're just sitting here just waiting for somebody else to tell you how to be happy or what to do to be happy, then you're missing out on the best parts of life. and the best parts of you. Okay, we're getting into this painting and I'm loving it so far. So I'm just creating like a little background on the outline of it to kind of make it look like it's 3D-ish. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I love it. I think it's super cute. And I think I want to make some clouds or something on it, but we'll see how it turns out. I'm kind of like winging it as I go at this point. So, the number 5 thing that I learned in 25. As a person who has studied psychology the majority of her adult life's career, whatever, I have seen so many situations where people experience mental health issues and behavioral issues, and a lot of it is because of trauma they have experienced in the past. We all have gone through things, but the 5th thing that I learned in 25 years is to not allow your past to be an excuse. Like I said, I've seen a lot of people who struggle with mental health, but I've also seen people who uses that as a crutch and also as an excuse to either not grow, to not work on themselves, to not accomplish their goals, to excuse bad behavior, and so many things. Now, there's some things that I can say, okay, that is a good reason for why this has happened or why you act this way. But you can't stay like that forever. And let me explain. I've struggled with trauma. I'm a sexual assault survivor, cancer survivor, bullying survivor. I lived with my mom. She was a single parent. My dad told me that he didn't want me. I was abandoned by my father. Been in bad relationships. I've been cheated on. I suffer and struggle with depression, which I talk about all the time. And yet, I do my best to try to work hard and overcome every single day. Some days are harder than others. Some days I have triggers. I just want to sleep in and I don't want to get any work done. But if I continue to use the things that I have experienced as an excuse to not get any work done, to not be successful, to not even try, then that's nobody's fault but my own. Because at the end of the day, we are all given so many things that make us feel inadequate. There's some people out here who are struggling with food insecurity, struggling with poverty and debt, homelessness, people out here who are struggling with illnesses and diseases, and so many people out here struggling with gun violence and racism and oppression. I understand it is hard, but we cannot allow our circumstances to always make us feel like we can't move forward in any type of way, even if it is one step forward. Success to me is whatever you define success as. I think about the story of Job, who had experienced so much loss, but he still kept moving forward. He did not allow for the fact that he lost everything, his riches, his family, even his own health was suffering because of this test that God took him through. He still obeyed God and still showed that he trusted and loved him through it all. And how dare you sit here and say that you trust and love God, but you're not willing to make one step forward to even show that? How dare you sit here and see all these people in this world who are struggling and not even try your best to move forward so that even you could be of help or of service to somebody else who is either less fortunate than you or somebody who has experienced or is experiencing the same thing that you're experiencing. And that comes perfect into number 6. You are a valuable treasure and a gift from God. I think that's perfect tie-in because we go through so much stuff, right? And it's so hard for us to even see the fruits or the benefits of why we go through this life. But you have to always remind yourself that God did not create you just to be on this earth to suffer. He created you for a reason, and He keeps you on this earth because you have a purpose and there's a mission that you have to endure. But not only that, you're not just a piece to the puzzle or just a pawn, or you're not just a minion or whatever of God. He truly and genuinely loves you and thinks of you as valuable. I think the Bible says that he thinks of you as one of his children, which means that you are a king, a queen, a prince, a princess. You are truly royalty in his eyes. So therefore, you have to treat yourself as such as well. Don't forget who you are, and don't let other people and don't let Satan tell you that you are not good enough for anything, because you are good enough for everything. You deserve the world. Number 7, be adventurous. You only live once. So that means that you have to definitely do the best that you can in order to make life memorable. Be adventurous. Try new things. Don't just be out here sitting here like a sitting duck and being all boring. Go someplace new, even if it's down the street or whatever. Go try a new restaurant today or some type of new food recipe. You know, recipes are free on Pinterest. And if you don't got Wi-Fi, go to the library and go get you a cookbook. That's free too. But there's so many things that you could be trying new. Don't use excuses. Be adventurous. You only live once. How boring is it to live a life where we're just doing the same things over and over and over again and you're not trying something new? Boring. Boring. Number 8, let your creativity shine even when others think it's weird. Like I just said, there are so many people who were in my school who were anime nerds and they loved everything anime, and kudos to them. That was not my lifestyle at that time. But they did not let anybody's opinions, especially mine, stop them from doing what they love and doing what they truly are passionate about. I used to get so nervous, and I still get nervous when I tell people my dreams and my aspirations, especially when it has to deal with creativity. And I had to realize over time that I can't let other people's opinions dictate what I do in my life. So therefore, I'm not. Hey guys, remember to follow and subscribe as we're going through these 25 steps. I don't know if you feel as good about these steps as I do, but I definitely do. All right, let's move to the next one. Number 9, being silly is not a bad thing. I know me and even my mom kind of deal with this sometimes. We are two kind of like goofy people. We have corny jokes. Some of them don't make any sense. Some people don't even laugh at them. And we're outgoing and we're bubbly people and we're loud and we're friendly. And sometimes that can rub people the wrong way because they want us to be suppressed and they want us to be normal, quote unquote.
Hi, how are you?
What's the meaning of this?
I took your advice. From now on, I'm normal.
If you are somebody who just is a little bit out there and it's hard for you to make friends because people think that you're too goofy or too loud or whatever, like, keep being you. Like, don't stop that. So always remember that it's okay to be outgoing. It's okay to be yourself. And it's okay to show the world who you truly are. Just be mindful of why you're doing things. Number 10, it may look like they don't care, but kindness goes a long way. I have had so many relationships with others where I felt like everything that I was doing was so one-sided that they did not care about my well-being. They did not care about my feelings, and they only cared about their success, their happiness. But I had a friend, and I was there for him every step of the way with his career and his music journey. He may not see it this way, but in my mind, I definitely thought that I was a really big help. I used to try to help people get into his shows, like sell tickets, things like that for his concerts. Granted, I had a crush on him, so a lot of the things that I did was because I liked him and I wanted him to notice me. But I was still there for him in support, and he ended up becoming one of my really good friends. But I started to notice for a while that he was not that interested in being that good of a friend to me. Because I had a birthday party when I was about 19, and I invited so many people, and this was during the time where I definitely started to realize how much people just did not care about me, and that was because of the relationships that I had started to develop with people that were not really best relationships to start. Anyway, so I invited a lot of people and I invited him, and we had talked for quite some time. about him coming, and I should have known at the time that he was just not into hanging out with me or anything, but I was so naive at that time because I called him the day of. We were literally sitting there at the party, and I called him, and he's saying that he's on his way, he's almost there, he got a little bit lost. And I called him again, another like 10 minutes went by, and he's not there, he's not showing up. He's saying he's on his way, he's trying to figure out where everything is, and come to find out that he just was not coming in the first place. And I was so naive because I thought maybe he just got lost, or maybe he just mixed up his schedules and he had another previous engagement and I just wasn't a priority at the time, and that's fine, you know, because I understand that sometimes things happen, right? Well, no, he just didn't care about me enough to show up to my birthday party, and he was lying the entire time.
The lies! There you go, this bitch, I'm telling you.
But that did not stop me from showing him care and love with things that he was going through and he was experiencing with his family and just so many things that were going on. I'm not going to go into his whole life story because it's none of your business. But it was just, I realized for a while that like even if he doesn't care about me as much as I care about him, I'm going to still show him kindness and love and compassion. And we may not be friends now anymore because of a lot of other circumstances. But if he came at me right now, and that this took a lot of growth, if he came at me right now with a request to help him out with something, I probably would say yes. But it all depends on what it is. Because I ain't stupid. Mama ain't raised no food. I guess what I mean is that I still think of others, even if they hurt me in the process. Number 11, everyone will tell you to focus on one gift only, but it's okay if you have more than one, and it's okay to use them all. I'm sitting here and I'm painting while I'm talking to you guys on my YouTube channel. And it's because I've decided that I have so many things to share besides just lifestyle, besides just beauty and fashion and skincare. But before my beauty and skincare and all of that, I was an artist first. I was a singer and a dancer first. And I still am. I don't think God created us on this earth just for us to be like, oh God, you gave me 5 talents and I'm going to hide all of them and keep only one. That doesn't make sense. The Bible even talks about that, the talents. Oh my gosh, I'm going to butcher this story. I know that just certain people who this king gave some talents or some money, and one person went and invested and brought more back to the king, and then another person invested half and like saved some, and then one person didn't even invest any of it and saved it all because he didn't want to lose it or something. I got the story wrong, but the point of it was the king was very upset because he gave him that and he didn't give him anything back with it. God has given us so many talents and blessings and gifts and skills, and for us to only use one or none of them is like an insult. We're not investing in what God has given us. Number 12, society has rules that you don't always have to follow, but it is okay if you follow some that reflect your values. There's a lot of things that I would never do anymore that I know a lot of people love doing, but don't recognize that other people do not have the same opinions that you do. And I think if we continue down the path of thinking that if everybody feels this way, I have to feel this way too. No, you don't. No, you don't. I think of life in a different way than other people think of life. There's other things that I feel like a lot of people are reaching for. Like you think it's demonic or you think it's something that's not of God, but in reality, it's a cultural thing or has to deal with a different type of message. And because you don't understand it, you say it's demonic. And I don't agree with that all the time. I'm not saying that it's every single time that it's not demonic, but I think it's important for us to be smart. But that's not the point of this. The point of this is if you have specific values and specific things that you agree with that other people may not agree with, It is okay for you to enact on those things. It is okay for you to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to separate myself from what other people may think, and I'm going to choose to live my life in a different way because this is how I personally feel. Number 13, read more books. There's a lot of dumb people out here in this world, and it's because they don't read. They can't read a book and understand it. They have a hard time understanding words or having language outside or vocabulary outside of what they're used to. I'm trying to be a little bit more conscious and aware of filler words that I use and be more cognizant of the sentences that I say, words that I portray. And I think it was for a while I used to sound very proper. I still sound proper, but I used to sound very proper, and I used to get made fun of, get told that I sounded like a white girl, all of those things. And I started to become a little bit more fluent in my Ebonics. And that's not a bad thing. I think it's like another language that people can speak, AAVE. But definitely stopped doing more like reading and understanding of like life, and it definitely, I think, stunted how I learned a little. And I just feel like it's important for people to educate themselves more and more and more. Read books. Don't just watch the news or watch TikTok and get all your information and history and sources from there. Number 14, buy things that make you happy at least once a month. I had remembered that I told myself that I was going to be more intentional with buying things that bring me joy and make me happy. I definitely think you should buy something at least once a month that makes you feel special, makes you feel like your hard work is worth it, because it is. Don't you love this mug? I do. My friend gave it to me. It says, "Heart full of Jesus, cup full of coffee." There's water in here right now, but I think it's the cutest mug ever. Number 15, sometimes you have to let people go, and it's okay if you never let them back in. I lost a friend recently, and I had suffered with trying to figure out whether or not I wanted to keep them in my life or let them go gracefully. And after kind of like reconnecting with them, I made the decision that I'm not going to completely outright them from my entire life, like block them or anything, but they will not have access to me as much as they did in the past. It's because of a growing period that I had to take myself in, because I realized that if I let them back in, I would go back to the same person who I was before we had stopped being friends. And it's okay. You do not have to bring people back into your life, even if they've changed, even if they've grown, and even if you've grown. It is not an obligation for you to bring people back in just because you forgave them for something that they did, just because they said they were sorry and that they loved you and that they really cared, or even if they shown their actions that were different. You do not have to bring them back into your space if it means that your peace can be completely ruined. I completely understand if you make the decision to say, hey, you know what? I love you and I appreciate you, but this friendship no longer is beneficial to me, and I don't want to hurt you by not being in a space that can help grow our relationship. Number 16, you will heal in time. Just keep working at it. There's so many things that I'm still struggling with that I feel like crazy for struggling with it sometimes. I just be looking at myself like, girl, like, why are you like this? Especially if it's something that I had experienced just recently. It's things you are working on. Take the time to heal. Sometimes wounds can heal on the surface level, and people may think we're fine, or we may even think we're fine, but underneath there's some rooted issues that we still haven't worked on that need to slowly regroup. And if we don't allow that work to be done internally, and if we don't give God the space to work on us and work through us, we will never, ever get healed. It will just the wound will keep opening up over and over again, and we'll get an infection, all of those things. Number 17, don't ignore the signs. People tend to be real with how they treat you. I told you about that story earlier with my old friend who just never showed up for me. I had seen the signs ahead of time that he just did not really actually care about me. And I think it's important for you to let God give you the discernment on if people need to not be in your life anymore. And it's okay if you make that decision and say, you know what, this is not good for me. Number 18, forgiveness is necessary for healing, even if they never say, I'm sorry. We've talked a lot about personal relationships in this 25 things I've learned in 25 years. And it's frankly because I've been hurt. Like I said, if I continue to say I'm going to work on my healing and stuff, and I'm not actively doing that, like, how can I tell you guys about any of these things? One of the things that I've had to learn is how to forgive people, even if they never say they're sorry. I told you guys that I'm experiencing a little bit of loss with my dad. He does not want to be in my life right now, but I was so angry with him for so long. I used to feel like he just hated me. He just did not want to be around me. And I still kind of feel that way. But in order for me to be a good daughter or just a good person in general, I had to realize that I had to forgive him. I couldn't just sit here and just be angry with him forever. Like, he is who he is. I put boundaries on my relationship with him, but I'm not mad anymore. I forgive him because even if he's never said he's sorry, and he never has, actually. But the forgiveness is not for him. It's for me. And for the fact that I have to see where he is and who he is, and I may not like it, I may not want to be around it, and that's fine. But I will not use my upset in some moments, cause actions that I personally don't even agree with myself to do. And you can be so mad at somebody and not forgive them so much that your actions turn out to be just terrible. And you have to forgive them. You have to move on, and you have to just show them that you are powerful even when they don't deserve it, or even when they don't give you what you feel like you're giving them. Number 19, what are more things that make you feel beautiful or handsome? And it's okay if it's not trendy. Man, I got some pictures for y'all. Some things that I used to wear that I loved. And I used to get made fun of so much for it because it just was not trendy. But I was trying new things. I was trying to explore new fashion styles. I was trying to experience Afropunk in my own way, unique way, especially considering how I was balling on a budget. And I look back now and I would never wear some of those outfits now, but I think it's important for you to try new things, especially with your outfits. Sometimes it may be a look that other people haven't thought of, and it could be trendy. And even if it's not, do what you love. I still think that fashion is important, like wear what's flattering to you, what works with your skin tones, things like that. But if it's something that you find joy in, wear it. Be different. It's okay. Number 20, history repeats itself. Take time to learn. It's super important that you remember certain things that you've experienced within your life or that you've seen from other people as kind of a tool for how you move forward. Now, not everything is going to be exact. Remember that. Not everything's going to be exact. So you cannot say that if you see somebody acting like XYZ, then that means that they're going to be exactly like that other person. No, use discernment, be smart, be vigilant, but also recognize that sometimes there are some things that you see from others that you're like, you know what, this reminds me of this, and I'm going to exit stage left before it gets bad because I already know what this feels like and I don't want to put myself into that situation. Number 21, after some time, I had to realize that not everybody is the same, meaning how I react to somebody may be different than how somebody else reacts. But a lot of times we all go through the exact same situations and scenarios. Like, I've been through hurt. You probably have been through hurt. It may not be the exact same thing that I have experienced, but you've been through hurt. And how you deal with hurt is different than how I deal with hurt. But we have to give each other grace and understanding for all of those things. Remember that how somebody else deals with their pain may not be what works for you. Find the tools that you can use that will make you successful. I always say God is the ultimate person that you can use because he will give you the steps that work for you. Don't just completely write off what somebody else is saying because you may not think that it works for you if you haven't even tried. Always try some other way to do something to make yourself feel better as a person, to heal and to grow and to give God the space in the room to help you in that process, because you may be doing something the same way over and over again and it's not working. So try something new, find what actually works for you. So I kind of finished my painting a little bit. I know I haven't talked about it at all. I think it's cute. Tell me what you guys think I should do more on it, but I'm going to hang it up today for sure. I think it's super cute. I'm gonna show you the full thing. Yeah, it's super cute. But I love it. I'm gonna sign it, and if there's something that I need to work on afterwards, I will. But let's get through the rest of these. I have 4 more. Number 22, don't date people who only have the small things you are looking for, which pretty much means don't settle. I didn't settle. I used to settle in the past. I used to tell myself that maybe I was asking for too much. I would only date people who had little things that I was looking for, until being with my now boyfriend, who pretty much has everything that I'm looking for. And I'm telling you guys, like, it's so much better when you find somebody who has more things than the less things, because people who have like the small things, I promise, like the other things that they have that is not what you're looking for will outweigh that small thing every single time. I dated this guy who was definitely a Christian, and I loved that he was a Christian. And we did Bible studies and we prayed a lot and we went to church and stuff, and it was great. But he just had no concept and understanding of how to treat my family members, how to talk to me. We used to argue all the time, and there was just a disconnect that both of us had. And I think it was because I was putting too much pressure on him to be somebody who he wasn't, and he was just trying to just be himself, you know. But it was my fault, because I got with somebody who didn't have what I was looking for, and I ended up hurting him in the process, and he ended up hurting me in the process as well. And so because of me just settling and not giving myself the courtesy of saying no, or him the courtesy of saying no, it ended up taking us down this spiral of a relationship. It was only 3 months, but that spiral of a relationship turned so bad and so fast, and I don't recommend that for anybody. I felt terrible after we broke up. Guys, I got him to move to Cleveland, and then literally we broke up like 2 weeks after. I was terrible. Number 23, being a follower of Christ is a life journey, and it's not a competition on who is the most holy. There are so many overly religious people. I know. I went to this church, and guys, it was like, if you didn't know the terminology or things, then you were like, what type of Christian are you? And it's crazy because I brought that into my relationship with Isaiah. I used to think like, if you grew up in church or whatever, then you know everything that I know. But I had to realize quickly that not everybody goes to church in the same way and experiences church the same way that I experienced it. Like, our culture is not always the same. It seems like it's the same because we're serving the same God, but it's not always the same, depending on what state you live in or city or whatever, whoever it is that taught you. But not only that, our relationship with God is our own. Yes, the Bible says we should know each other by our fruits, but that's based off of how we truly love and serve God in the way that He wants us to, not in the way that other people want us to. So if I'm not doing something the same way that you would, it doesn't mean that I don't love God the same way that you do. Or it doesn't even mean that I don't have a relationship with God. This is just what He has given for me to do and how He has given me the instructions to do it. And it's different than everybody else's instructions. And I think that it's important for us to always remember that our relationship with God is not about how holy we are compared to other people. It is how righteous and holy we are in God's standards. Number 24, people will tell you what they think you should do with your life, but only God has the right answer. I think that ties completely into the holiness in our relationship with God. If you continue to live your life based off of the decisions of others, you will always be in the wrong every single time. People will always try to tell you who you are and who you are not are. When I first started my journey of ministry, I asked God what He wanted me to do, and He told me He wanted me to be an evangelist. And I used to try to get opinions of other people so much because I wasn't sure if I was actually hearing God's voice correctly or not. So much so that I would tell people this is what God said. And if they said, you know what, I don't think that's what God said because of XYZ, I would try to listen to them because clearly they may know more than I do because they've been in ministry longer or whatever. People will always try to tell you what they think that you're supposed to be doing in your life. But if God didn't say it, why are you listening to them? Listen to what God said. It's kind of like, to me, the story of David. God told him he was going to be king, but there were so many people who probably told him that wasn't the case, especially considering how young he was when God told him that. And if he had listened to those other people and not taken the steps to be obedient to what God told him, he would never be king. And he would be like Saul, where Saul completely disobeyed God's instructions, so much so that God decided to rip him completely from his title, his position, his sanity. And you don't want that to be you, where you are just doing what other people say instead of what God says. It's so much to the point where he says, you know what? I'm done. It's over. You don't want that. And number 25, be your best self, whoever you're around, and take the time to remind yourself who you are every single day. And I think that it's super important to have that goal every day. We remind yourself of the things that God has brought you through, the people you've experienced, the lessons you've learned, and that you are a gift. I truly believe that the impact that you have is going to take people to new levels and to new heights. And I just pray that you just continue to let God use you and to remember that it's already yours. So those are just 25 things that I've learned in 25 years of my life. I hope these helped you, and I hope that you continue to just be blessed and to feel the love of Christ in every action and aspect that you do. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share my channel with your friends, family, whoever who may need this video. Even if they're older or younger than 25, I think these 25 things can definitely help you, just as they continue to help me as I'm going through this lifelong journey. I love you guys. Stay blessed. Be blessed. Peace out.